They say catching your spouse cheating is one of the worst moments of your life. But for me, it was the best. Because that night, under the neon lights of a bar I'd never been to before, I saw something that didn't break me. It freed me. And it saved me $100,000. When I first met her, I was young, stupidly romantic, and, to be honest, ruled more by hormones than logic. She was beautiful. Not just pretty, she had this way of looking at you that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I didn't notice the little things back then. The way she never asked about my day, the way every conversation somehow circled back to her needs, her wants, her problems. I chalked it up to quirks. We were in love, right? We got married fast, too fast, and within the first year, the cracks were already showing. It wasn't arguments that killed us, it was emptiness. No warmth, no connection, just two people occupying the same space day after day with nothing between them but unspoken resentment. The law that trapped me. Here's the thing about where we lived at the time. You can't just walk away from a marriage. The law required both parties to agree to a divorce unless you could prove fault. Cheating was one example. Abuse, abandonment, those counted too. But without that, you needed your spouse's signature. And my wife? She had no intention of signing. One night, over dinner, she put down her fork, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "If you want a divorce, fine. It's gonna cost you." Cost me $100,000. She might as well have been asking for the moon. I didn't have that kind of money, not even close. She knew it. That was the point. Her life was better married to me than without me, and she had zero reason to give that up for free. It wasn't about love, it was about control. Barrett, we went back and forth like two hostile countries negotiating a treaty. She'd throw out a number, I'd laugh, she'd storm off. Finally, she came down to $25,000, all I could realistically scrape together. The night she agreed, I felt light. For the first time in years, I could see an end to this suffocating chapter of my life. I called up a buddy and said, "We're celebrating. I don't care where, just pick a place." He took me to a bar across the city, a part of town I'd never set foot in. It was loud, crowded, smelled like spilled beer and cigarette smoke. We drank, laughed, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a prisoner. It was 2:30 in the morning when we stumbled out into the cool night air. That's when I saw her.
They were laughing, tipsy, leaning into each other in a way that made my stomach twist, but not with jealousy, with pure electric opportunity. They got into a taxi. Without even thinking, I jumped into the next one and told the driver, "Follow that cab." The streets blurred past as we trailed them, and then the taxi slowed. My jaw almost hit the floor when I realised where we were. My house. I watched as she got out, kissed him, long, slow, and in no way just friends, before heading for the front door. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I pulled out my phone, aimed, and started snapping photos. I walked up to them, like I was greeting old friends. "Evening, I'm her husband. You must be the guy she's been seeing." The boyfriend froze. She went pale. I smiled. "Listen, if you two want to do whatever you're gonna do, just not in my house, all right?" I reached into my pocket, handed the boyfriend my business card. "You just saved me $100,000, my friend. Drinks are on me next time." And with that, I went upstairs and went to bed, like it was the most normal thing in the world. Breakfast was tense. She tried to go on the offensive. Technically, since we already agreed to divorce, it's not cheating. You still owe me the money. For a moment, doubt gnawed at me. What if she was right?
What if all I'd done was humiliate myself without actually changing the outcome? That afternoon, my phone rang. It was him, the boyfriend. He sounded awkward, apologetic. "Look, man, I didn't know. She told me you two were done, that you didn't even live together. I wouldn't have..." He went on to tell me they'd been together for 6 months and that she'd sworn she wasn't sleeping with anyone else. When I told him we'd been intimate during that time, dead silence. Then, she lied to me too. And then he did something incredible. He offered me everything. Photos, texts, dates. Proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that she'd been cheating before we agreed to divorce. I backed it all up on multiple devices. If she even thought about deleting anything, I was ready. That weekend, I called her into the living room. I laid the evidence on the table. Literally. Printed photos, screenshots, a neat, devastating pile of proof. Option A, we do this as a non-contested divorce. You get 30 days to move out. You get nothing from me. Option B, I get a lawyer, sue you for everything I can, and you spend the next decade drowning in debt. She tried to stare me down. Her hands trembled. Finally, she agreed. Monday morning, we stood in front of a judge. No kids, no shared property. It was quick, clean. When the stamp hit the decree,
The boyfriend? We actually became friends, shared beers, swapped stories. Life's funny like that. As for her, last I heard, she was still trying to find someone else to bankroll her life. And me? I learned that sometimes karma doesn't knock, it kicks the door in.